What's going on, YouTube? Ledger here once again. This time at you again with some more Genshin Impact, and it's that time. It's that time to talk about my number one, my queen, Hu Tao. Hu Tao is here. Her banner is back around. The really one is here, and people are asking, they're wondering, they're pleading, is Hu Tao still worth it? Do I still get her, or has Arlecchino completely left her in the dust, and is she old news? Well, let's talk about that and let's get down to it. One of the main things that I want to always touch on when it comes to DPSs in this game is, do you enjoy their playstyle? Because that's truly what matters. Not so much strength of the character, because let's face it, in this game in Genshin, the potential of the characters greatly outweigh the difficulty of the content. Even some of the less meta units, someone like Ito or Yoimiya, they can steamroll the content if they have high investment. And when I say high investment, I don't mean whaling, I don't mean Constellations and such. I mean bare bones C0, R1, or even R0, and with good gear and good teams can steamroll the content, and it is what it is. Some characters is going to be easier than others, of course. You're going to have an easier time with the C0, R0 Nouvelette than you are going to have with the C0, R0 Ito. But at the end of the day, there's enough wiggle room in terms of how powerful these characters are in order to you to just focus on the play styles that you prefer to play on your account. And also to who you actually have on your account in terms of compatible teammates. You know, if you go for a character and you're kind of on the fence and you don't have any good teammates for them, then maybe you should skip them, you know? And if you have great characters for them, then, you know, then maybe you can consider that. That's kind of a golden rule when it comes to DPSs, not just Hu Tao, but when it comes to any DPS you're thinking of. Do you have a good setup, account where you have the right supports for that character? And do you like their playstyle? Do you like playing with them? For Hu Tao, do you like the dash cancel, jump cancel, charge attack playstyle? The berserker where she's taking her own life in order to do so on and so forth, even though a lot of teams that she's on now heals her anyway. But you know, that's a different conversation there. When you try and break it down to the power situation of these different characters, there's so much nuance with it. There's so much subjective takes on it. You know, there's the Arlecchino versus Hu Tao, who's more powerful. Some people even still try and say Xiangling is more powerful, which I think is BS. I don't think Xiangling is more powerful than what Hu Tao can do, the type of damage that she pulls out. And don't get it wrong, Xiangling is an amazing character, you know. I just get frustrated with people trying to overhype a little bit. A low investment Hu Tao and a relatively decent invested Xiangling, yeah, can compete for damage, but the fact of the matter is these 5-star limited DPSs, they just have a higher ceiling, and that's what it is. Not to go too much on a rant there, but whenever I hear people talk about that, that's like, you know, somebody bragging like, oh, I can take base Goku, but you know, that's fine and all, but Goku can go Super Saiyan, you know. And that's how I look at these 5-star. They have a pretty high ceiling when it comes to investment. So that's a complete side note there. It has nothing to do with what we're trying to talk about here. I just get very frustrated with this whole Xiangling conversations. But in terms of Hu Tao, another thing to think about too when choosing Hu Tao is that is really convenience, right? Because like I say, in terms of if you can invest in the character correctly when it comes to what teammates you have for them, do you have your Hydro applicators like Xingqiu, Yalan, Farina? Do you have your VV set up, or do you have your plunge set up ready to go, things like that with Shen Yun? Do you have those teammates for her? But also too is the actual build. How hard is it going to be to build the character? And for Hu Tao, ever since she came out back in March 2021, her best set has been Crimson Witch of Flames, which is in the strong box right now. And there is another set that does compete, and in some situations may even beat Crimson Witch of Flames, is Marichose Hunter when you're using her with Farina. Now this is great. This is a great set. And also another good thing about that set is that it's also in the strong box this patch. Fantastic. So when it comes to building her, it's going to be a lot easier than it is for a lot of other characters, because you can still continue farming the other domains that you're used to farming, and all those trash, the fodder, things like that, you can build the character with a nice a strong box set. So, you know, that's always a plus to keep in mind when it comes to picking up Hu Tao. But let's stop beating around the bush a little bit here, and let's talk about the meat and potatoes here. Who's better, Arlecchino or Hu Tao? Because the thing with Arlecchino is that, you know, people are wondering, like, is Arlecchino so much stronger that she's left Hu Tao in the dust and there's no point in getting Hu Tao anymore? And I don't think so, because I think it's much more debatable than people seem to think. Because I will say that in most teams, Arlecchino is going to put out more damage than Hu Tao, and she's just going to be the more meta unit all around, especially with her versatility, with her being able to be on Mono Pyro, Vape, and Overload teams. But Hu Tao's strongest team is stronger than Arlecchino's strongest team, and it is what it is, right? Because if you think about Arlecchino's strongest team, it's going to be either, you know, the Mono Pyro or the Vape with Yelan or Shangling for the Mono Pyro, things like that. And those are going to do a lot of damage. But Hu Tao's best team, in my opinion, is going to be Hu Tao, Farina, Shang Yun, or Xilonen, and Yelan. And that's a whole lot of damage going on when she's in those teams. It's a whole lot of damage. She can take on single targets, she can take on AoE in those situations, and it's just absolute destruction. And this is a testament to why Hu Tao has been the most long-lasting unit in the game, because she just constantly gets more and more buffs, and to the point where we have this team that we got in Fontaine that just completely annihilates things. And we even got a new addition this patch with Xilonen, who can take place of Shang Yun, and if you haven't seen one Hu Tao, she can do her charge attacks once again and deal great damage while everybody else is doing a whole bunch of damage too. It's fantastic and it's phenomenal. But one thing to take into account too is that this is a very expensive team, right? So even though it overpowers Arlecchino and her teams, do you have those limited 5-star characters? So that's something to take into account too. Do you have what it takes to make Hu Tao just as powerful as all the new strong diesel DPSs like Nuvalette and Mualani and such, the DPSs of today? Now, I do predict that Arlecchino herself is going to get more and more buffs as time goes on, because she doesn't have many characters that are truly meant to be with her in that sense. You may get a replacement for Bennett, which can buff her up right there. You might get somebody who vapes a little bit better with her. You know, a buffer that just benefits her more, so she's not stuck to the Bennett circle, things like that. So, you know, something like that could come along in the near future. But who knows, that same character could also benefit Hu Tao in a sense too. But as of right now, one may be stronger, but it's not so much that you have to throw away the idea of having to deal with playstyle. Like, Hu Tao still does have her VV Vape team, or the very near team. The team that I actually have displayed right here is also very powerful, where Hu Tao's personal damage skyrockets up. The Yelan's damage is also, or Xingqiu's damage is pretty fantastic in the teams like that. And those output a whole lot of damage, rivaling the limited team that I did tell you there. And this time you can have Tomo, who's a 4-star on there, you know, to give it a little breathing room there. But that type of team is a very hard team to play when it comes to rotations. And actually my last Hu Tao video, I actually go about it in depth in the right rotations in order to make sure it works well. But it is a difficult team to play versus the Farina team, which is just very easy to play and just absolute destruction. Now, in terms of investment for Hu Tao, I'd say her C1 is still very important. Now, if you have Shang Yun, it is not so important, because you don't have to worry about jump canceling being an issue, because you want to jump cancel in order to plunge. So that's not an issue at all anymore when you have Shang Yun. But if you don't have Shang Yun, then C1 is just as valuable once again. So I would prefer C1 over her Staff of Homa if you're trying to decide between the two, C1 or Staff of Homa. We just now have this different alternatives when it comes to weapons for her. And it's just not going to... Improving her playstyle is going to be the priority, because jump canceling and dash canceling is not only easier to do, it's a whole lot more damage. Like, Hu Tao has been a fan favorite for quite some time, and I feel like Hoyoverse knows this, and they've been treating her well, and they've been giving her buff after buff after buff after buff. And who knows, another buff might be coming her way, because there's room for improvement, like I said before, you know? Because the thing with her is her best team, she's being healed, and she's a character that wants to have low HP, because she does more damage with low HP. So if they find a way to bring out a character that helps her do maximum damage while they let her keep low health, I think that we're going to be looking at another Hu Tao buff if that happens. But who knows? Only time will tell if that ever comes. You know, maybe there might even be a situation where we might find a character that helps her melt and she does die or something. You know, the possibilities are limitless. For those of you who are thinking, is Hu Tao so strong enough to be a character to go for on your account? Then I say go ahead and knock yourself out. But also keep in mind that we do have an Archon that's lurking around the corner, so don't go too crazy, all right? But yeah, but what do you guys think? You know, are you guys pulling for Hu Tao? Is this the way that you guys are going here? Definitely let me know in the comments down below. Are you looking more towards Nahida? Because, you know, when it comes to that, you know, Nahida is a very powerful support. This is support impact, so that might be another decision that you might want to try and make. If you want supports, if you need some supports on your account. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. What are the options that you guys are looking at right now? Which way you guys going? And like the video if you like the content I'm giving you, and subscribe to the channel so you can get more content like this. And with that, under here, Legend out.